Hello guys, and monthly is going to be first. You voted. This doesn't mean that twin flames are not coming up. They are coming up very next week. So let's kind of go with general messages, and actually from what I see, there will be twin flames over here as well. First of all, my promotion, speed up promotion, is still on. I'm struggling to catch up, especially this weekend. I was like lying down in bed and relaxing and more or less recovering from a kind of like stomach bug kind of thing, but it is still on. So that means within 7 days you get it now instead of 3 weeks if you order regular. If you order a rush, you get it within 3 days, and if you order urgent, 24 hours. And that's it. Let's start with this. It was interesting. I was shuffling cards and I was thinking, which kind of card decks do I kind of like pick? These are general messages for all the signs for this kind of like transition of Leo. So this is basically almost until the end of August. And very similar messages I'm getting here around and around. There's like this Nautilus, right? Fibonacci, if you really wish. And then from this deck, I got the Burden. Look at that. It's kind of like interesting card. Actually, probably I should put this on autofocus so you can see it better. Look at that. It's saddled with whole bunch of stuff. Oh, you need to do that, and even the rooster on top of the head. So just kind of like being bombarded with things that maybe we shouldn't be doing. So 6, and then another 6. Talking about a time passage, and this makes so much sense. We are entering Mercury retrograde, and of course it's going to be some kind of possibly memory lane. It might be somebody showing up. And then we have, this is law of attraction. The law of attraction, there is like this universal feeling of belonging. So 3 6s are not the devil's sign. 3 6s are twin flames, soulmates. Something will be really cutting through over here. Now, this is also a very interesting card. It's like talking about, there is like that spiral in there, and it's the quality of events when a lesson, it's not really quite integrated. Cycles that we kind of like really are challenged to break. We need to revisit a pattern from a new perspective. So when we get this card, it's kind of like a reminder that although maybe sometimes appears that we are going backward, it's, oh my gosh, I'm never going to catch up with these bills or stuff like that. The truth is that you are now standing at a higher ground. You know how we've been through elementary school, we kind of like learn certain things in biology, history, right, whatever. Then you get to high school, you're learning the same thing, but much more. You're seeing it from a different kind of like perspective. So this is kind of like telling me that we will be looking at our circumstances and learn something. And we now, with this Mercury retrograde, will be pulling something from the past, something that maybe burdened us, something that kind of like the time is up, sort of a thing, right? If it is a twin flame, then we need to really look at it and say, hey, wait a minute, this is all awesome, but it doesn't work for my life, or it does work in my life, and I will continue with that, right? So no more how did I get here again kind of a thing, right? If this is like something that sounds familiar to you in your dynamics with others, it really kind of like maybe you're realizing that you're repeating an old story with the same sort of a person. What I say, maybe they're attracted to you because of kind of like your easy acquaintance, and you kind of like can wrap around their own qualities. But this is also kind of like telling me, meaning the person, this is kind of like typical with twin flames. Twin flame is more or less an energy not of a person but of a soul, and I think energy kind of can jump from a person to a different person. So meaning the same person in a different bodies can be the case over here. And like you're saying, oh my gosh, I feel that it's a lots of self-blame for some people. How did I get here? How do I get out? And I kind of like it, because when we get bothered with something, which obviously here we are kind of like really really bothering, then we are actually able to change it. There's like definitely echo of the past that is happening over here. Like, and we can see it here, this passage of time. But look at this, like this shoulds and shouldn'ts, and who is imposing on you stuff? And if you're doing something and you don't really like it, or that it has no function, then why are you doing it? It's kind of like time to really do it, because you can always go faster, you can always try harder, you can always reach the top. Hey, how about, stopping that rat race, stopping that struggle kind of a thing? Because it tells me, and that was like me over the weekend, hey, you really will not have the energy if you keep doing that, right? Chances are, like, that this kind of like issues, hi Safi, see she's leaving her little prints over here. Chances are that like maybe lots of things that you feel that you should do are really in your mind. It doesn't mean that they have to weigh you down, right? So it's really, 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 really time to lighten up over there. It's really time to kind of like really figure out what is the burden in your life. Because you know what they say, you keep repeating the same things over and over and over, you're not really going to get different results. Something will really need to change. So I really think it's going to be lots of internal work, lots of stuff that is again coming to the fore. But in a good way, because it's going to get resolved with kind of like this, telling me this like law of attraction is working. It is attracting emotions, persons, situations. So thinking positive thoughts and telling yourself, you know what, I always done this. Let me kind of like try to do things kind of like differently this time around. This actually will work this time. So shifting the patterns, shifting the perceptions, not really jumping on, issues or words that people tell you, kind of like doing things differently will actually really, really be effective at this time. So let's go into individual Taroscopes, and I also want to just give happy birthday to Leos and toward the end of the month Virgos. So Virgos are already kind of getting ready, and Leos are going to have an awesome time. So let's start. Hello, my Aquarian friends. How are you? We are entering the part of a year where our energy is the lowest. So, luckily, we have the other influences in our astrological chart. You can look down in the description how to create your own chart. I gave you a free resource over there. And check your ascendant, check your moon sign, and also Venus. If you have extra time, watch your Venus, because it kind of like tells me how we would actually emotionally kind of like deal with situation. And if you're cross watching for someone, then check their Mars sign. It's going to tell you kind of the attitude that can actually happen. So as I was like shuffling, these three cards jumped out, and I was wondering if I should just take them or not take them. It was kind of debate, and then it kind of like said something to me, yes, go for it. And then I flipped them around, and it did make sense. It says forgiving and learning, religious factors, and romantic feelings. It's like something that really is coming to the fore. Something needs to be released. Release a situation that has been possibly very rigid, and it is basically preventing us from actually going into the situation where we can actually connect with our feelings. It really tells me that it is like a big, I would not say warning, it's like a love letter sent to us with these three cards saying, you know what, as you release and heal the past, You experience more love in your present moments. We kind of like our little kind of computer, especially because we are so logical and pragmatic, and yet we kind of tend to be rebellious, even though we like the structure for ourselves. So that's confusing the hell out of the other people. So that's kind of problematic as it is. But imagine really how it is being us. Nobody can imagine it, like living with all these conflicts. So I think there is like certain accumulation of way too much. You know, there is going to be a time in August where everything will need to be sorted out. And so sorting out our feelings, sorting out how we feel towards something, including sorting out laundry, sorting out our computer files, sorting out everything. Like the structure, we love structure. We kind of like have our own inner light. And Hermit card, which kind of is assigned to Virgo, it's also actually Aquarius behind that, because it's kind of like looking for our own wisdom. We really don't need anyone. But religious factors is more or less talking about marriage. It's going to talking about church. It's going to talk about other people settling us for their ideas. Nothing wrong with that if those ideas are valid. What if they are not? What if we have been living life that somebody else told us to live, and we keep kind of like spinning that rat wheel over and over again and going nowhere? What if by shifting it, changing it, and establishing something else serves us better? Because this is what it says it will. So let's start. The bottom of the deck, whoa, nine of cups, but there is like also looming this the judgment card, and look at the lovers, the major arcana. The judgment reverse talks about something past relationship, something maybe that we really haven't been very diligent, or a situation that happened that evolved where there was lots of pain. That's usually kind of like a release of the energy that needs to happen, and admittance of what we did wrong. It's just like, you know, tell the truth kind of the thing to the others and to yourself. This is the card of enjoyment of who we are, reaching this like final stages of fully understanding what makes us happy, and kind of like this really makes sense that is combining with this. And of course we have the wedding, and the religious factors to me is the wedding. It's kind of weird. It's not necessarily that we want to go there. Maybe it's dealing with somebody who is married. Maybe it is dealing with somebody who promised us marriage, or that somebody else's, some couple that is married in a very serious relationship is affecting our happiness. Or it's simply comparing the two and trying to figure out, do I want this? This is all mine. Look, it is. This all pillow is that's just for me. This entire cups are for me. Or do I really want this? So let's see what happens. You know, let's see where August takes us, because usually when you're on your law, you have to kind of like clean the house in order to increase the energy. So house meaning literal home, and the home has a really big definition for us Aquarians. I know that most people consider this home their four walls, and that's it, right? So I'm coming home, that's the key to your home. But to us Aquarians, home is so much more. Home is our family, our friends, basically the entire structure that we have built. So anything missing out of it, so when the person like is leaving us, it does feel that this adjustment needs to really take place. So let's see. Retreat, attraction, keep an open mind, new love, but it's in the past, getting to know each other, you deserve love. Codependency, that would make some sense. Passion, worth waiting for, and calling in your soulmate. So let's leave these two cards that we have seen over here, and I'll be telling you this get cards because people ask me, but also pay attention to what you see in them to go from this point. Now, the past. It could have been a fire sign. It could be somebody who really stirred our feelings. This King of Wands is a lovely person. It's so much fun. You're learning so many things from this King of Wands. But when it's reversing, we also learn things that we don't want to learn, such as, I'm married. Oh, surprise. Well, I forgot to tell you. I wanted to tell you, but I didn't think it's going to be important to you, like you're so cool. Kind of a thing. And what happened with that? Two of Swords. So yeah, we walked the tightrope. And then Four of Cups. We got completely disgusted with the situation. And maybe the situation included somebody who was married, because this is kind of like a repeat of the situation. Maybe it was a choice we have been given. You know, when something like this happens, sometimes it's like, oops, it's too late. You know, they already put the hooks in it. That's kind of like a very narcissistic and almost like psychopathic, sociopathic kind of attitude over here. You know, to tear this apart, which I do see this here, takes a lot. It's really hard. So that's why it says, I don't know what the hell am I doing. It's kind of like maybe we were tapping in the dark, hoping for a solution, and no solution coming was appearing to be the good one. So maybe we felt down in the root, because it looks like this kitty is not even noticing like these beautiful cups, and it's just like barely noticing there's something special arriving. And look at this kitty eye. Look at this. Oh. You know, this can mean a few things. This can mean feeling completely disappointed in the situation that has been going on, has been happening, because it could be also that it's still very much lingering. It's one of those things, you know, when they say when you look back in your life, you can connect the dots, because even though you have lived in every kind of like process, you do see kind of like old people on the street, but they were not old all their life. They were like babies at one point, and young people, and they had their own experiences just like us. So here, you know, it looks like that was one of these crucial moments in this process of life where it was the point that made such a big impact on us, that is still resonating, is still rippling. And like when I get this like forgiving and learning card, it's really telling me maybe it doesn't have that much to do with them. Maybe somebody was just a catalyst in their life for something that needed to happen, because I'm seeing lots of good cards over here. So here it says keep an open mind. Soulmate may differ from your usual type of expectations. But then I'm getting like this King of Chalices reverse. Somebody who is basically not stable, who is destabilizing, who will make all kinds of like lovey-dovey promises that will sound good. You know, words, actions, cannot marry the two kind of a thing. And we have the Karma card reversed. And we have the King of Swords reversed. Okay, so now we have three kings. This is actually bringing us to this reading going to be much longer. This is something that is resonating and is going to culminate around the end of the year, between Christmas and the 6th of January. And I don't know, like maybe somebody is divorcing. Because like this is a judge and this is a judge, and they're coming together, but it's not a good thing. And yet is asking us to keep an open mind. I can think of a few things. I can think of that there was somebody in the past who put those hooks in us, and that we walk away with grudging and with lots of hurt and feeling that the whole world is falling apart. That somebody is coming back to our life, again professing love, except this time we are not that naive and stupid, and we have been going through quite a bit already, forgiving and learning and saying, well, I do respect your marriage, and I wish you told me this earlier, because then I would not choose you. And that's why they didn't tell you, not because you're so cool. So it's going to be indication not to trust this person, and this person can become almost like brutal and rude and aggressive, kind of like really Judge Judy kind of style. A person who thinks they know everything, that they really don't know squat, and the way they see things is not necessarily how it is for everybody else. Judgment without compassion is really not the solution, and yet we actually have it this way. This can mean universal judgment, justice card. It's kind of like really, really important. This is also a big warning sign. I think we are going to have inclination that we maybe want to get in touch with somebody, tell them what we want, tell them how we felt, tell them how crazy out they made us. And that would just kind of ensue into the argument and gaslighting. I really see somebody here, hey, are you kidding me? Messing up with Aquarians is not a good thing. Most people don't know it. We kind of like appear to be very friendly. We are very friendly. We want to do anything. We always go with the flow until one time we really, really want to do something. So, I don't care if I go to Thai or Chinese or, French restaurant. It's food. I always find something good. Well, maybe one day I really, really want to try Jamaican food, and everybody, no, we're going to there. Then it's going to be so highly noticeable, right? And that's where the rip is going to start to happen. Hey, once I'm asking you something, and that not only it's a no, but it's like such a violent no. Why? Because when this card shows up, it's basically saying do not take justice in your own hands, because that was the key of the lesson, to just go through it. Grind your teeth and go through it. Just, you're facing your fears. You are walking this tightrope. There was a lesson here that is like really big lesson that we need to kind of like do it. So, if they kind of like come and storming and convincing and gaslighting, well, you can just say, well, I see that you feel that way or that you see that way, but I don't. And that's where people don't understand that when they start messing with us, that the very first rip happens without them knowing, and quite a few consequent rifts. And this is probably our problem. That's maybe something we need to learn to handle, and we need to learn how to forgive, because we didn't kind of like say, hey, actually, there were some red flags over here, because we live in a society where it's kind of black and white. We blame him or blame us or etc., right? It's always kind of like a combination. It can be like a 99%, 1%, but it's always some kind of combination. Because here is like clearly telling the story. What is inner heart, retreat, and attraction. Retreat is like with the Six of Pentacles reversed, right? So it's really telling you kind of spend some time alone, or spend some time with people who are really close to you. If you have a partner, just do that. Sort of like having one of those, just two of us, no kids, is going to do you well. The lesson that needs to be learned here is give and take. It's usually when you have somebody this abusive and this aggressive, is like they just like grabbing, and they don't care that you don't have anything. In fact, you'll be a beggar. They'll still want you to give them the house. It's just obviously has nothing to do with us. But us getting angry with this person makes no sense, because we're arguing with a crazy person, right? So that makes us even more crazy. Because this card is really talking about the giving and sharing, but it's really more or less, even more so, talking about not to give unreservedly, which I think happens many times for us, that we just give everything. We are too friendly, and friendship is unconditional relationship where we really want to be with someone. So for us, being in love with somebody doesn't really work if this person is not a friend as well. So here it tells that we gave too much. We empty our own reservoir, and we did say to karma, I don't need it. So hence it was just like taken away from us. So this is a time saying, look, you wanted it. There's like something you did it here. I am really kind of like telling you, like, it's time to kind of like clarify this. So we have the Chariot, and we have the High Priestess. So it was about some aspect of love. It was the time to move forward. It was the time to face. We need to face what we did. It was a situation that was kind of black and white, that we need to experience. Like the High Priestess is the experiencer. With High Priestess, like she's choosing to let people in her life or not, based on the actions, not based on the words. So this whole thing here is checking out our own pulse, checking out our own actions. Yes, we kind of tend to see forward because our eyes are kind of directed that way. But close your eyes and try to see backward. Try to see, never mind if they wronged you, what we did wrong, what signs we didn't see. Because somebody might be coming back, and I keep seeing that. And trust me, from what I see, it's not a great news. And we have this 4 of, and there we go. Another karma card. Ace of Swords. Holy smoke, somebody is going to say that there is some kind of transformation that is going to happening, or they transformed, but I really think most of all we are transforming. There was like an essence of being in a protective state, and it's kind of really coming to me really clearly. We kind of like were adhering to some kind of like really rigid rules because we needed to function, and that kind of like looks like it was lasting for quite a while. And we cannot move forward until we kind of like really, clean the stuff, clean the debris. So here, maybe we tried something different, like with this person. Maybe it was like different for us. So 8 of Cups is, look at the kitty. It's saying, oh my gosh, look at what I have at home. I have this, and I see nothing because it's all kind of blurred. You see the milk is kind of like doing, well, I can play with these strings over here. Oh, look at that. I can play with this. So many things over here. But I really want to see what is out there. Where can I find? What can I get? So when this reverses, this kitty realized, hey, I was just exhausted myself my whole night over there, and I want to go back to that warm milk. Understanding that what we had was great. It looks like we ventured with someone who kind of like was very exciting, who kind of like really gave us something new in your life. We actually did have some kind of like really benefits out of that connection. But now we are kind of coming back to understanding that what we have is a lot. We have a lot to offer, and we are taking the walls down of that protective walls, those crutches, like this tricycle and bicycle, when you have like those kind of like training wheels, well, they are taken off right now. We are cutting the cord. We are kind of like moving forward. So let me clarify that Ace of Swords, and we have the Ace of Pentacles later to clarify. Why is this Ace of Swords here? Which direction is this going? Because that's some kind of victory, and I feel it's cutting the past. It's kind of like moving forward. Ace of Swords. Oh yeah. You want to come out, and you want to come out. We have Consolation. Oh my gosh. Consolation, Reunion, and Sweetheart. Whew. This is tricky. This is really tricky, guys. Somebody might come through finally after back and forth, and I was finally saying, you know what, well, thanks for stopping by, thanks for hearing from you. I didn't hear from you in a while, but you know what, I'm a different person, and we have lost that edge, and they might try to engage us in the same BS that has existed once, and this back and forth impasse, but this doesn't have influence anymore on us. And it's a completely different energy this time, and this would resolve this karma. Kind of like, I'm not engaging. Your crap is yours. Keep it. I already have mine that I deal with, and I'm working hard, so I had to really get your first out of the way. And then things might happen. It says reunion, consolation, something reappearing, appearing. I keep seeing this person might be coming back with big love offers, and it could be a phone kisser. Yeah, sure, I know it's 18th century drawing, but yeah, I know it's a letter. Never mind, to me it's a phone. I'm Aquarius, forgive me. Holy smoke, this is such a strong message. And yet, I also see that we will not be super happy about that. That it was lots of work, and lots of destabilization, and lots of just barely functioning all this time. So let's see this. getting to know each other. I don't think we are giving another chance. Yep. 9 of Wands, Ace of Pentacles, 9 of Wands reversed, 5 of Cups reversed. It keeps giving this 6 energies, like I have 6, which kind of like it's lingering there. On some level, I think we really want it, but we are really clear that something long-term can't be built there. We actually do not want to move the barrier as far as probably as with that person. We do not want to make that step. Almost looks like everything we wanted we are going to get from this person, and they're going to even blame it on us, like, because my life became turmoil because of you, blah 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 blah. And yeah, what do you think? I didn't suffer? And how is this like you're always a victim, and is this even good for a relationship to be this way? And there is like this finally sense of, hey, I'm opening the window and it is like a sunshine outside. It's a new day, tomorrow is another day, but in our case it's like today is another day kind of a thing. I'm not fighting for you. I don't, and excuse my vocabulary, give a damn about you anymore. It just, I just don't think I want to know more about you after what happened. And the worst part is, it's like person is almost like a mirror that kind of like is reminding us of things that have been extremely painful. So let me start with this. I think this person really tapped into something that we had to address, which again, it's more than just this person. It was something that existed there before: forgiving and learning, codependency, the religious factors. Maybe we tangled up with someone who has been not ours to start with. Well, people are never ours, but this dog belonged to somebody. So that kind of like can't talk about that, because codependency to me is generally the third party dealing with that kind of like intricacies that we are feeling that this needs to be cut off. Look at this. This is the King of Swords, and here is like the Knights of Swords, like really zooming through it, and it's literally kind of like this Judge Judy hard justice kind of happening. But in this case, because it's falling on this card, it's a harsh remedy, something that needs to happen. It's going to be the end of one phase. So whether this means we need to stop drinking, we need to quit drugs, we need to quit smoking, we need to stop disgusting relationships, or meeting people who are continuously counterproductive, this is like what's happening really this month. The Hierophant and the Ten of Swords. And again, I have these religious factors, the Hierophant over here. It was something that we wanted. Maybe if you just ask us this question, what do you want, a year ago, 2 years ago, it looks like 15 months ago, because look at this is this devil energy, and guess what? The devil energy is codependency. This is really repeating, and this is being cut off. And it is basically, we were going against the grain. Of course, we are Aquarians. Of course, we'll go against the grain. But this time, it cost us badly. Badly. We have been really down for a long time. This card is actually not a horrible card. It means it's the end of the phase, just as we saw it here. And I really think this is really calling us. This is really heavy reading. So guys, check your own readings. There are lots of karma involved here. Karma readings are great. And I'm going to be raising the price in September. So it's kind of the last call to get it for this price. This is telling me that this is over. The worst is over. We would not experience any kind of pain like that anymore, right? It sounds like somebody can come and say, hey, I still love you, I still want you, and blah, 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 blah. This is lovely. We can really use those words. It looks like it has been pretty difficult time in all directions. It kind of like felt literally walking this tightrope in the dark, blindfolded. What's next? Having a diarrhea? What can be worse than this, right? So here it is. Somebody is almost like using us as their emotional toy, right? Like when 10 of Cups reverses and we have here 9 of Cups, he's saying, look, I'm so perfect on my own. However, that's also downward spiral here. I'm not advocating here you have to be with somebody else. You know, I am just like saying here, somebody's saying, oh, I'm so unhappy and my family is not making me happy, and look at the Magician, let's create something together, we can make this work. But look at how much of energy shifting it would take here. This person, or maybe this new person who might be coming to our life, would include lots of arguing, lots of shape shifting, lots of, you know, positioning, because something would happen in the last while is like we had to have this like very structured world because we needed to heal something that went really, really deep and left lots of scars. And we will live with those scars. They're always going to be there, but scars don't hurt. They just are ugly. And they're ugly when we look at it, when we are ugly when we think about it. But if you understand that these scars or wrinkles, whatever you want to call them, are actually there because they're you, they're reflecting all these experiences, then we can learn to love where we are right now. So hopes and fears worth waiting for. 2 of Pentacles reversed. Why is that? 3 of Pentacles reversed. And that's the card that jumped out actually as I was shuffling. So this is kind of like really interesting. So guess 2 and 3, 5 and 6, 11. So there we go. Well, in year number 11, we are the 11th sign. And this, everything that was happening, this was the Justice, a card number 11 that showed up. What is worth waiting for is that something bigger is in the store for us. Something that we don't have to bother with this minuscule life things. So we need to kind of like leave that stuff in the past, looking things in the past. Something that was just like not a part of collaboration. If there is no collaboration, there's no issue, it just cannot be made work. Everything was like so black and white. It kind of like was handling things in a kind of like really weird way. But then this is really saying, look, I need to cross this bridge. Yes, I still have a whole bunch of problems. I'm not a newborn. I did manage to accumulate all of that. And these are those kind of like things that I told you, baggages and stuff. So yeah, we are still carrying these baggages around, but we are just taking selected few, and some of them we are really, really letting go of. Actually, I also forgot to check this ace over here because it's important, because now I'm seeing Pentacles 1 and 2 and 3. So let me see what is this Ace of Pentacles here. Ace of Pentacles. So I'm getting to know each other. Ace of Pentacles, sorrow. Ace of Pentacles. So the reasons why we are not going together, sorrow, gift. Haha. Now talking about the profound statement. Oh yes. Let's just go back to this for a second. Right? So here we had something that I said, long term is not there. We are not opening this gate. We are not fighting for it. And we are getting out of that situation that, you know, hasn't been comfortable to start with. So it's saying the sorrow that we felt, that we have been through this, is actually a gift that this person given to us. We have sorrow, gift, and enemy. So you see how profound this is? Because yeah, we learn all our lives, we learn every day. But when do we learn the most? When we are in pain. Sometimes some people don't even learn that, and I'm pretty sure I was there, and I'm pretty sure every one of us was there as well. But this is what it is. I know who you are. Not so much that I know every single intricate detail about you, but I know that you are putting me in pain, and that's not how I want to feel. And that's kind of like, I think, lesson fully absolved, like A+ in that lesson. So this is kind of like going ahead Well, this person can be, I'm seeing few astrological signs, but as you know, it's kind of hard to tell this in a general reading. I see air, absolutely. I see fire, and I see water. So quite a bit of happening. And this is really saying, look at the Sagittarian energy over here. Kind of like Sagittarius and Leo. You deserve love. Look at this. Some kind of like, it's kind of like really weird, because I think what is the saddest thing in the situation, that these two people, or 3 people, 4 people, I don't know what I see over here, it was few people, obviously if marriage is involved, kind of like really loved each other and just couldn't make it together. They couldn't make it work. It was like too much on the outside, too much arguing, too much positioning. And it was ultimately a lesson. Hey, you actually, 2 of you, you go here, kind of a thing. But there was love. And that love has to be taken with us forward. That's one of these things. Yes, it was like something uncomfortable. It could be somebody who's also long distance, or somehow distant, that we haven't heard from in a while. Like we are having like these 3 cards already. The Strength. See this infinity sign on top of the kitty's heads, and here, both of them, and then here we have huge infinity sign. So a karmic wheel. Do you really want to sit on it, or you want to jump off? Because we do have the strength to kind of like deal with us. It looks like we were kicking and screaming and demanding, and nothing worked, other than just taking another big chip of us and self-respect and a whole bunch of stuff. And it really sounds to me that we did lots of things that are not very commendable, and maybe we didn't deal with that aspect. And we need to deal with that aspect, because this is kind of like winning against ourselves, learning how to approach situation that can be this tricky. And whoa, and there's another 6 over here, and 4, and that actually just may happen. It just happened. It can happen so quickly that we are not going to even understand or realize what's happening. By conquering us, you know what they say, what is inside, you reflect the world inside on the outside. And this is really what it is. Learning to love ourselves, and I see it here and I see it here, is making us feel that this was the biggest battle we had in our life. The battle was for us, for who we are, what we are doing. And then completely stabilizing, completely understanding, conceptualizing, moving in a new direction. Oh my gosh, this is really lovely. And also, there is like definitely a new offer of love, and we are ready. Oh my gosh, I think it was a really long and a really, really painful lesson, but it was a very good one too. A very, very, very good one. Karmic soulmate, twin flame, that's for sure. So where is this heading? 4 of Wands reversed. This is still good. This is one of those cards that mean almost identical. It's something is here surprising. Oh, somebody proposed to you. Oh, I kind of thought about it, but you're still surprised. Here it's not a surprise. Somebody's calling you. I'm going to kind of like kneel. Just make sure I say yes. Are you going to say yes? Kind of a thing. So it's not such a big surprise over here, calling in your soulmate. And we kind of like at this stage, let's see what else do we have. Knave of Chalices and the Empress reversed. So I think this calling in your soulmate is somebody calling us, and we are closing that forever. We are kind of like saying, no, this is my dark side. You were my dark side. I felt rejected. I felt this was going nowhere. I felt clingy. I felt destabilized. And no, there's no surprise here. And I don't really want to see if there will be any more bad surprises. It is kind of bad enough that I have to go through this turmoil and feeling it this way. I'm just going to grit my teeth and finish this lesson and then move up. Because, guys, the only way to go is up. This codependency, and I do this energy healing, I do coaching, is very common for, it's a common karma. It really is. And once when you shake it off, it takes forever. It's a really hard lesson, because usually symbiotic relationship with a person who is codependent is a narcissist and somebody who is continuously eating you away alive, right? Like, did you ever see, like, I mean, walked in a forest and then you see a snake grabbing a frog and you can see this thing is still alive and there's nothing you can do. That's how it felt, that we have been swallowed by this whole situation, by this whole life. But we managed to release it. It takes a lots of soul search. It takes a lots of debris. Like, whole body would hurt, whole soul would hurt. And maybe this is like why establishing some new structure was really important. But guess what? This is releasing, and we need to really, the most important thing is like to see evil things we did, bad things we did. Never mind what they did, forget about it. Just like, even it was like 0.5% what we did, let's just focus on that, deal with that, see how you will deal with that in the future, and release. So my Aqua, I did actually bring one more card for this reading to kind of finish it. But before I get to it, just get a private reading. As I said, if you don't really want to go in this direction, check all this other stuff, ascendant and your moon sign, Venus sign, Mars sign for them. Private reading is really focusing only on your energy. It could be very different from this reading. So let's go. The last card was Ghostlands, and it was really interesting. When it jumped out, I saw it 17. 17 is a star card. 17 is our card, right, of healing. So this came reversed. So let's see what it says. It says, when the Ghostland card appears reversed, it is a sign that you are wandering in an emotional or intellectual place with no real substance. There is no point longing for that which has already gone or hasn't happened yet. Perhaps you've created a fantasy of the good old days, or some elusive utopian destination that lies somewhere in the future when this or that happens to make things better. Live one day at a time. Each day is a new beginning filled with truth and beauty. Stay away from the ghostlands of past and future. Avoid nostalgia and longing for something better. Find joy in what is present in your life today. Guys, it is a time for us to become us. It is a time, you see, this is kind of like a struggle against the time, kind of like run against the time. And time is like right now, right here, dealing what is like right now and right here, and kind of like balancing different sides of our personality, making a decision and going in a new direction. We have been doing this for a while, from what I see, and now it looks like it's going to be one of that last temptations, somebody knocking on the door with everything that we wanted to hear, and or not knocking on our door and not giving it to us. So in either way, there is like this essence of, hey, I really need to put this behind me because I need to start moving forward, and that will help me, that will help them, and there I am, I'm doing some kind of like good deed. So my dear Aquarius, I really hope this helped you, and I really hope to hear from you. And if you haven't subscribed, you see this little button, just ring the bell. It's going to create magic, and you're going to be invited to the live things, etc., etc. Comments are more than appreciated. I always like to read your comments and acknowledge it. And yeah, and for your private reading, check me out on cattarot.ca. And for your tarot fix, in the meantime, between the readings, check my Facebook and Instagram for your daily tarot. Love you and all the best.